All right, I'd like to welcome all to this evening's regular board meeting of the Lakeview Public Schools. Today, Tuesday, April 16, 2024, 7:30 p.m. at the boardroom at the Wheat Educational Campus. For the board's benefit this evening, I wouldn't call it benefit necessarily, but transparency, Ms. Taylor will not be present this evening due to a personal family issue. Moving on with the agenda, I'd like to call the attention to the minutes of the meeting of March 19, 2024.
Move their approval.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Martin, support by Mr. Baird. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Madam Secretary, have we any public communication this evening?
I do not.
All right, we move on to the student representative report. Ms. Pinner, good evening.
We have another busy month up ahead, and April has been very busy so far. Starting off with the early childhood day, they wrapped up March's reading month with a visit from a very special guest reader, Princess Belle. She was at the center for 2 days and was able to visit each classroom at least once, and the kids loved it. The preschoolers were excited to come back to school after break and are jumping right into learning all about spring and spending time outside learning about the changes in the weather. This month, they are also learning about life cycles and plants. This month, all 261 preschoolers will have their Wiggins assessments completed. These assessments give us important data on each child and look at their individual growth in language, cognitive, large motor, self-help, and social emotional skills. It's hard to believe that we only have about 7 weeks of school until summer, and the preschool is already busy planning all of the end of the year school field trips, celebrations, and fun. Next up, Ardmore's recent PTO Glow Dance Party was a resounding success. There was lots of laughter and dancing with lots of glowing fun. From this dance, they raised funds that will be used to host 2 upcoming assemblies from GP Zoology. These presentations will share with students the wonders of the animal kingdom. Next at Greenwood returned from spring and hit the ground running. Construction is moving right along, and the new additions look like real rooms with some of the cabinets and furniture that are in place. M-STEP started this week, and in a few short weeks, all students will begin their final NWEA testing for the school year. They are also in the final phases of planning for all those end-of-year extras, such as staff appreciation, field trips, kindergarten, fifth grade celebrations, and their plaque offering. Next at Harmon, this week begins the state M-STEP testing for grades 3, 4, and 5. Teachers have been preparing students for this important testing. At yesterday's VSIC meeting, Harmon staff spent time writing positive notes to place on the desks of M-STEP students. Harmon's Girls on the Run group has started, and there are many 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade girls participating. The girls meet every Monday and Wednesday after school for an hour and a half. The girls discuss self-improvement, self-worth, and spend time running to prepare for a spring marathon. Harmon's construction is starting to move at a pace as well. Ceilings and flooring are getting into place, paint is on the walls, and they're moving closer to the finish line. Next at Princeton, they have started M-stepping and are excited to see the results for this year. NWEA testing will begin shortly as well. Princeton's green team is having their county celebration this month, and their Girls on the Run team is in full swing. And Joe the artist has returned to Princeton to touch up some of the new spaces and old areas affected by construction. Joe is in the middle of his updates, and everyone is looking forward to his continued work and artistic surprises. Next, Jefferson returned from spring break and enjoyed a full week back before testing began. Last week, the JMS 8th graders completed their PSAT tests in the new digital format. No.
Oh, you're going to have to start over.
There you go. That's it.
There you go.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's all good.
Okay. Let's start from the beginning with Jefferson.
Jefferson returned from spring break and enjoyed a full week back before testing began. Last week, the JMS 8th graders completed their PSAT 8 tests in the new digital format, and this week they are beginning the M-STEP testing for their students. JMS hosted a solar eclipse field trip for students and staff last Monday. 300 JMS students and the entire staff viewed the eclipse from the JMS tennis courts. They were provided with the appropriate eyewear and snacks of moon pies and Star Crunch. Everyone is looking forward to a beautiful spring as they wrap up the school year. Lakeview just concluded SAT and PSAT state testing. This year, students took the state tests online through College Board, a first for all the schools in the state. LHS administration would like to thank all staff for their assistance in this yearly endeavor. Every staff member had a responsibility during this week of testing and did an excellent job. Last week, Jordan Crandall, Teacher of the Year, was recognized at the county banquet. Congratulations, Ms. Crandall. On Wednesday, April 24th, Lakeview will conduct its annual Academic Awards ceremony at 8 a.m. in Schaublin Auditorium. Students and their families will be recognized for their tremendous hard work throughout this year. New members of NHS will also be inducted at the ceremony, where there is a reception for families and students after. The next Lakeview Blood Drive is April 25th, and Lakeview is considered one of the more popular stops for the Red Cross due to our outstanding participation. And the class of 2024 activities will start as we near the end of the school year. One of the more popular events is Senior Prom that will take place at the Italian American Cultural Center on May 3rd. Thank you.
All right, that's it. Lots of good things going on. Anybody have any questions for our student rep this evening? Thanks again for your coverage of everything going on again and reporting out to us. Well done, thanks. Okay, Board of Education Administration comments. It's funny, student rep mentioned the eclipse. That was an interesting event, and how much light there was yet with just a tiny little sliver of the sun. Now, if some people notice how cool it got, it dropped quite a bit. So it was a good experience. Any comments from the board? None? Okay. I have one other thing, having to do with the high school, the construction. Gates left open on the parking lot side, coming off the pool entrance. If you could make mention that we need to be more diligent in securing those properties.
Yeah, we got the line.
All right, great, thank you. Any other comments, administration?
Sure. As Ava so eloquently shared, the close of the year is right upon us. You get past spring break and all these things start to happen very quickly, and both at the local level and at the county level. And I'm just, I'm every day as I get the chance, because I choose to, disappear from this building and wander off to the schools. And I'm at every school every week. The only reason I wouldn't be is because I was out of the district a number of days for something else. But the idea that you can stop and see all the action that's happening, and the focus and the effort and the creativity of the staff in getting the kind of outcomes we get for kids, and the opportunities we provide. And I just think it's always refreshing to see those things. You obviously see some of the pictures I take for your benefit. And that's a testament to the staff. Again, I won't say it every meeting, but probably half the meetings I'll make a mention of something like that. Bond projects, obviously we have a number of those underway right now. Hopefully one more set of those after tonight's meeting will get some attention. State budget is underway. The local reps, Veronica Paez is our House rep, and Kevin Hertel is our state senator. Get informed and share your opinion. Tax collections are a little less than the past couple of years, but they're still fairly robust. So the future of what would be next year's budget is probably not a problem, because of the way we've been prudent about how we managed our funds, particularly the grants. I know the board saw some stories recently about districts that are starting to call out their woes because they didn't manage their grants well. That's the only assumption I have. Fortunately, we are experienced enough to know better and play those grant processes take it very seriously and very consciously make decisions about where to spend those one-time funds, not to have uh-ohs coming at the end. Lastly, this afternoon, I had the pleasure of participating on an Oakland University doctoral evaluation committee. The capstone project is the end of the process for a doctoral student, and a couple of professors and myself were the evaluation committee, and I'm pleased to share that Laura Woods, soon to now be known as Dr. Woods,
All right.
our own Director of Curriculum at MTSS, and her project, her capstone project, was tied to the district work we're doing. We benefited from that. I was certainly happy to serve as part of that evaluation committee, and she got a passing grade. So, congratulations, Laura. We appreciate the efforts to get there and the background work that had to happen and all the effort, your own time on the side, going to classes. It's not something easy to do when you're working full-time. And we tend to work a little more than full-time around here. So, nice job.
Thank you.
And I'll leave it at that.
I would just mention that we are open for enrollment, both for residents and school of choice. So our offices down there in the enrollment office are busy, and we're welcoming new families every day. So that is a great thing. Always nice to see exciting faces in the lobby. We also are, believe it or not, starting to put postings up for next school year. So if you know people who are looking for positions, I'd encourage them to continue to watch our website and to consider us for employment and applying for jobs with us, because we're a great place to work. And tonight, right after this, we'll be welcoming someone else. Thank you.
And welcome to Mr. Lynn this evening. Your first time at the table with us, so welcome aboard. All right, any other comments? None? All right. Thank you. Moving on to item A, personnel, changes in personnel.
Tonight, administration is bringing forward the following changes in personnel since the last presentation to the Board of Education on March 19th. New hire Shannon McCarver, Ardmore Elementary School Special Education Teacher. Resignation Juliette O'Keefe, Jefferson Middle School Special Education Teacher. Retirement with regrets for next school year, Susan Culver, Lakeview High School Math Teacher. Julie Demers, Harmon Elementary School Kindergarten Teacher. Catherine Legrette, Harmon Elementary School 4th Grade Teacher. Mary Radilla, Paraprofessional. Schedule B, returning coach and sponsors as listed.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the changes in personnel as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Bear, support by Mr. Miners. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Have we a new hire here
We
this evening?
do. Shannon is here. Shannon, if you wouldn't mind standing up so I can share a few things about you. We're very, very excited to have Shannon joining our team. She comes with quite a bit of experience, both in the academy, private setting, as well as in public. She's worked for Centerline Public Schools for a number of years, both in regular ed and in special ed. So she has a unique background that she comes with preschool experience, as well as, like I said, regular education setting before she went into the resource room teacher. So when we were talking, and Mrs. DePero and I were talking with her during her second interview, that experience at the regular ed classroom is just so beneficial now in her special education role. And the dialogue that we had about her comprehensive understanding about what happens every day in those classrooms, and how she's able to support that is going to be huge. She has both her master's degree and her bachelor's degree from University of Michigan. She has language arts as a major and social studies as a minor, and then went back for her master's in special education. So we are thrilled to have her joining us. Can't wait for her to start. And you have a guest that you brought. Would you like to introduce your guest?
This is my husband, Chris.
Excellent, thank you. Well, we are thrilled to have you. Welcome aboard.
Welcome to the Lakeview community. All right, moving on to the bond implementation, item A, bid pack number 11, improvements to Lakeview High School pool, Shaublin Auditorium, district-wide playgrounds.
Tonight, administration is recommending award of contractors for bid package number 11 related to improvements to the Lakeview High School pool, Shaublin Auditorium, along with elementary and preschool playgrounds, which is to be funded from the 2022 Bond Fund, Series 2, and the Capital Projects Fund. Starting in March, this bid package was advertised and bidders were solicited as law and district policy requires. Ultimately, 40 bid proposals, were submitted in a variety of categories on April 4th, as noted below, when they were publicly opened and read aloud. Barton Mello Builders and Partners in Architecture assisted administration with evaluating the proposals and conducting post-bid reviews with the apparent low bidders, and in some cases, the second and third low bid. Both Barton Mello Company and Partners in Architecture agree, and the following contractors are being recommended for award in the amount of $5,261,427. Representatives from Barton Mello and Partners in Architecture are here tonight to answer any questions the board may have.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the bid award amount totaling $5,261,427 for improvements to the Lakeview High School pool, Shaublin Auditorium, district-wide playgrounds as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Bear, support by Ms. Martin. Discussion on the motion. I do have a question. It's noted in here regarding the play structures and playground equipment and new play surfacing still under further evaluation and maybe some changes before Tuesday. Where are we at on that?
We're right where this was the number that we were at. There was a lower bid that we evaluated, and they didn't provide the proper equipment that was spec'd. And then the high bid, as we dug through it, it had some things in there that this middle of the road bid was appropriate for what we had spec'd and what the architects, when they reviewed it.
What we suspect is going to occur is we're going to end up finding out that there's a bunch of mulch that would be protective layer included in this bid that is not yet, no, we don't have a dollar amount to that yet, but what we were expecting is a deduct change order, because we wouldn't necessarily have a bunch of mulch removed and replaced when it's perfectly fine being there. That was kind of part of the problem amongst all three bidders. They had certain things that they were including that weren't necessarily a necessity, because we're not going to remove mulch that's perfectly fine and then replace it and pay for new mulch, right? And so some of that, we were expecting we're going to end up with a deduct change order when it gets down to it on that price for that playground work.
So this is considered as not to exceed then?
Correct, yep.
Okay.
So what's going to happen what's entailed in the pool details?
So there's going to be a new coating on the ceiling, new sock, HVAC system, so the big unit behind the pool, that's going to be replaced, new filtration system underneath, and then windows. We're going to also upgrade the HVAC system, so we're going to get a little bit of some negative pressure the way it's kind of supposed to be, so when you walk in, maybe it won't stink like, chlorine and burn your eyes as much, but, so that's kind of what the short and skinny of it is.
And then is there going to be a walking path from an Ardmore along the parking lot? Is that something that's going into?
There is, where that gravel is, we had put that in, Mr. Hahn, several years back when, to let the families walk to the back, and as we had talked about it, it became apparent that that's still used, so that is going to be, that was designed to have concrete, but to also be a little bit of a bioswale, a swale, I guess, to, I don't want to say bioswale, but a swale to let the water kind of flow off of where it is and
Yeah, 'cause
drain properly.
it's like- I know, like, my son's in kindergarten, and the young fives, like, all the parents have to walk back there every day. And he
Yep.
has a couple hundred yards and I walk every day, so. I just noticed it needs something.
Yep.
Storm drainage is going to be included as well to help shed the water away and pitch it in a positive direction away from the water.
Perfect, thank you.
There's also new mosaic tile going in the pool,
Oh.
new bottle filler and drinking fountain. All the locker room HVAC equipment on the upper floors getting replaced, including the pool equipment room, that's all coming out. And then that unit that serves the pool, it's like the size of a bus, that's getting replaced as well. All new ductwork with new return ductwork to help ventilate the pool better because you've had moisture issues that we had noticed in the past. So that's all going to be remedied with this. And then Bartonville had a good idea to add an acoustic layer to the ceiling of the pool, which will also then add a vapor retarder to the pool. So that will also assist with improving the moisture that's coming. What's happening is there's not enough insulation in your walls of your roof. There's two short walls plus the roof, so this will add insulation plus acoustics plus a vapor barrier, so you won't get all that condensation out of the ceiling.
Okay, the
Natural
bus,
Big natural windows coming in, so they're gonna wrap the concrete.
We're going to have some natural lighting. I don't think it's going to be big windows. I think we're, is it glass block or is it, I guess you guys?
Windows.
Okay.
New windows, new doors. There's a pair of doors now along that east side. There'll be new windows and doors that go into the gym from there.
Okay, excellent. Great news.
okay, and the bus, as you call it, is what's on the south side of the pool, outside?
Yeah.
Is that enclosure going to be replaced or be fixed? Because there's some cars might have bumped into it and cracked some of that wall.
It's not in the project to replace that at the moment, no. Just the unit slated to get replaced.
Is it possible to get the same, looks like just a section of it can be replaced? Is that something that can be replaced, or is it one of those, it's outdated?
When I talked to
anymore?
Mr. Ruers at least 10 years ago about it, I saw the same thing, like someone backed into it, and he said the way those things fit, they're like they slide like, the way he said it was like Connect Four.
Okay.
So so you got to slide everything up to replace that, is the way he explained it, so,
It's like a freeway wall.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he said it could be done, it just would need to disassemble basically that whole section to reassemble that piece, and of course, the piece is right at the bottom,
Right.
top.
Well, if you can take it apart and put all the good
Yep.
ones. And then
Get
have
a
on the
decorative
top.
one on the very
Or
top.
something.
That's right.
All those
that's right.
back in, take the
Like
broken one
Tetris,
out.
just bust the bottom one
That's
out
right,
and let
just
them
let
all
it fall
slide
down.
down.
We can certainly investigate it. You're going to have a brand new parking lot, a new building in there, it's going to look nice. It'll probably stand out a little bit more than it does already.
And then perhaps put a guardrail in front of it so somebody does not back into it or run into it.
Yeah, you can do a guardrail, you can do bollards.
True.
If you go around to where the addition's going, there'll be new bollards there. There's a new generator going there that will protect with bollards. You certainly could do that.
Okay. Cool.
I had a question about the playground equipment. Did the bid include any information about adaptive equipment or adaptive playground equipment?
It's handicap accessible equipment. I guess as far as adaptive, I'd have to look into that. Essentially, what we did is we met with the principals. They kind of gave us the parameters by which they want new equipment. Is it a climber? Is it a rope climber? What's the sizes? What type of new structure do you need? Do you want swings? So we found some good examples of things they like. That was age appropriate, where Ardmore is getting a new 2 through 5 age piece of equipment where the others are not. They already have that. Greenwood has one already. So the new climbers, let's say, are for 5 through 12 or older, of course. So they kind of helped us select that. What we did then is we said, all right, we want to spend this much money. Here's the types of things we want within whatever piece of equipment you provide in your bid. And so we got 3 bidders who provided 3 unique approaches to those pieces of equipment. The lowest being an approach that we didn't like and wasn't going to meet the principal's needs. This middle approach was cost effective, and I haven't met the need, so that's why we're presenting that here. So as
And-
far as adaptive, I would have to look into that.
And some of this is, we have to remove things that are broken or damaged or.
There's old climbers that are coming out and essentially replacing those.
Okay, I don't know who would be the correct person to get information on that, but if I could receive some information on what that, what equipment is installed that's, for, or that is adaptive, I'd appreciate that. I don't know. who
Yeah,
would be the-
they provided essentially like a presentation or a slideshow of all the equipment that would be easily, nothing that would easily be.
Yeah, you could
reported.
send it to us, and once we get it, we put it in the board update, so
Yeah, that'd be
everybody
great.
has it.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. Do any other schools or public pools use salt water in the chlorine generators? Is that a viable thing? I heard you say something about the negative pressure and getting rid of the chlorine smell.
We're not proposing to use it here. I have not been a part of a project. I don't know if Bart Mello may have.
No, most pools don't use salt water. There's pools that will have their own chlorine generator where you basically take salt that you would use in a water softener,
Right.
pour it into a container, you mix it with CO2, and somehow it creates your own chlorine, so you don't have to buy the bottles and things like that, so.
Right, yeah, I know.
Well, there's no saltwater pools that I'm aware of in Macomb County. They're all
I haven't heard of any
freshwater.
either, but I know it works well in, personal. Like, my brother has a
Sure.
pool with the saltwater chlorine generator, and, no smell, your eyes don't burn or get red. And I was just curious if that was something that maybe we can look at down the road.
But that has access to the sun, right?
Pardon?
Has access outside to the sun. I think that's another factor
Oh,
that
yeah.
sometimes comes into play with those.
Okay.
So regarding the electrical bid, what does it mean in the accepted alternative column when something's negative 17,000? Does that mean it's less what we anticipated, or like, what does that mean?
So the bidder, in this case, recommended an alternate be considered.
Okay.
So there was a control panel that was specified in our documents, provide this.
Okay.
They said, you could really do this, it does the same thing, but it's less money.
Okay,
There's the potential that we may look at a different panel, but they recommended it. We believe it's going to do exactly the same things that the specified panel is going to do. There's a few features that it doesn't have, but in general, we're still going to meet with the manufacturer and make sure that Warren is on board with that, accepted alternate. We think he will be.
and,
The other-
This is an auditorium sound panel.
Okay.
Sound and lighting panel.
That is 12 to 14 months to get. The one that was specified is 12 to 14 months. This new one is a third of that time,
and it's cheaper.
and it's cheaper.
And so is the alternative product that's 17,000 incorporated in the 992, or will
The
the
deduct is
net?
in there, yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you for the clarification.
And Ardmore and Princeton, the fascias we talked about several months ago, the wraps arounds, the blue, it looks good.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you for
I keep-
suggesting it.
I kept forgetting to mention it since it was installed, and now that we're going through this, I said, aha, I got to make comments, so it definitely finishes it off. Thank you. Any other comments?
That's what you need.
Scary.
That's a one and done for the year, right?
I think so.
Okay.
All right, any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, going on to business, item A, thanks for coming out, everyone. Item A, 2023-2024 amended budget resolutions, item A, general fund, and B, capital projects fund.
All right, this evening, the administration recommends that the Board of Education consider the attached budget resolutions, again, both for the general fund and the capital projects fund. The amended budget proposal focuses primarily on the general extent and timing of these two funds. All the additional funds, your debt service funds, food, they'll be amended at year end during our final budget proposal in June. But for right now, the focus is on those two funds, both the capital budget and then the general fund. From a macro perspective, the overall revenue is approximately $64.7 million with expenses of $64.1, which includes a one-time federal and state funding of approximately $3 million. The budget continues to include student support for learning loss, mental health needs, safety and security, along with a continued focus on providing high-quality programs and staff. From a revenue perspective, we still continue to have a 90-10 mix. And then we came in, after we got the state aid reports, at about $458 increase year over year per pupil, which is a little bit more, about $158 more than our conservative estimate, with our original budget proposal of $30. And from an FTE perspective, we're up about 50, so we're down 25 in total, but we had originally projected to be down about 75. With this increase per student, grant allocation, at-risk special education will result in approximately about a $3.2 million increase in revenue year over year compared with our audited 2022-23. From an expense perspective, with the loss of some grant funding, several salaries and benefits are absorbed that were covered by the federal grants are now budgeted in our general fund expenditures, such as preschool, latchkeys, social work, teacher specialists, and other support programs, staff that support learning loss and other initiatives. Wage increases for settled contracts are also included. The budget proposes a general fund transfer, which is higher than our original fund of $1.2 million to $2.5 million to our capital projects fund, which would cover extra costs for either technology or any kind of overruns within the bond projects. The district has always had good financial fiscal policies and prudent spending over the past years. So we've had significant growth in both the general fund and the capital fund. At the year end, we expect to increase our general fund about $650,000. And again, we wanted to transfer $250,000 to the capital projects, which would give us an overall fund balance of about $10.8 million. The capital projects fund, the next item down, we kind of talked about that the idea is to transfer $2.5 million versus the $1.2 that was originally forecasted in the original budget. Therefore, the administration recommends the adoption of the 2023-24 amended appropriations resolution that are included in the general fund and then the capital fund as well.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the 2023-24 amended budget appropriations resolution as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Bear, support by Ms. Martin. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Item B, approval of audit services contract.
So tonight, the administration is bringing forward a recommendation to award the district auditing services to Yo and Yo for the years 24, 25, and 26, with an option to renew for another additional 3 years. We began the process in late February of 2024, where the administration distributed an RFP for several firms. We received 2 firms back. We went through a weighting percentage of 80-20 based on kind of the criteria set forth by the administration. Based on that, from a cost perspective, a service perspective, kind of a ad hoc service perspective, it was decided that Yo and Yo would provide the accounting services, and that's our recommendation based on our bid tally sheet. For the following years. The audit cost for the next 3 years is $34,000, $35,000, and $36,000. And this covers everything from GASB reporting to all of our bond fund reporting and the actual audit and additional services or education and help from the service. So that's our proposal that we continue with Yo and Yo, who is for the record, our current audit firm. So there is familiarity with them as well. So.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the district contract to Yo and Yo for audit services for the years ending June 30th, 2024, 2025, 2026, with an option to renew for 3 additional years at the base audit cost of $34,000, $35,000, $36,000 respectively.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Bear, support by Mr. Asia. Discussion or comments? I have a question on the audit service bid page. You have the ratings, 1, 2, 3, 4. How did you come up with the numbers for other services provided without additional cost, being a 2 for Raymond and 3 for Yo and Yo, and the one below it, experienced staff, including federal awards, the 3 and the 4 number?
Let me take the second one first. So based on just, if you have a team of 4, Raymond, in their case, they had 3 professionals that were actually CPAs, the 4th was not. So that was kind of your 3 versus 4, where Yo and Yo, all of the professionals from your beginning associate all the way to your partners that are signing off on the audit engagement, they were all CPAs. So that's that part of it. The other part is they offer training and services to us as staff, some that are free, some that maybe aren't free, some that maybe there's travel costs involved, some are done electronically based on location. So some of those services that are offered were a little bit better. It is subjective to a degree, but they were a little better off compared to the bid. I think it was, Carl, 2008 or 18? 18. It was the opposite, where a different firm, I think it might have been Plant Moran at the time, they offered the training, Yo and Yo charged for it to a degree. This year, during this process, everything was free from Yo and Yo's perspective, and there was more robust training available than maybe there was for Raymond. So it's subjective to a degree, but very, very small variance, but Yo and Yo provided more from a service perspective.
Perfect, thank you. Any other comments?
Can you remind me how long we've been utilizing Yo and Yo services?
My knowledge is 3 years?
2018.
2018.
Bid that
5 years.
2018.
Yeah.
Renewed it once in 2022.
Okay.
And now we're 2021, and now this is the ending. This last fall was their last part of the contract from the extension, one-time extension.
Okay.
You have a board policy on service contracts. We are able to extend no more than 3 years. First off, we don't offer a service contract for more than 3 years, no more than 3 years. Could be 1, 2, or 3. If you offer a 2-year contract initially, you can't extend it more than 2 years. If you offer a 3-year contract, you can extend it up to 3 years. Doesn't mean you have to extend it 3 if you had a 3 original. But usually the companies are interested in providing very inexpensive extensions to avoid bidding and just carry the service forward, right? Some districts don't bid these services. And, the last time we had a Plant Moran price in 2018, it was $65,000. And Yo and Yo was 28, 26, and 28 and 30. So districts that don't bid it because they just say, Plant Moran's the best, or this plant is the best, when they have no concept of thinking through the reality of it, because the process is the same. Doesn't matter what firm you use. They have to meet all the requirements the state expects of them. So it's an interesting little process when you start to ask the questions to get a comprehensive answer.
Question on the 3-year extension. Would it revert back to 34, 35, and 36, or would it continue on at a step 36, or 37, 38, 39?
We would ask them for a written proposal. And if, some of it's the economy, right? If the prices are going crazy in the economy, they have to, give us a proposal, and they say we want to have a 3% increase. That would come in front of you as an approval. Or we could bid it again and see what comes out of it. Usually, you're pretty able to determine where the ballpark should be and, what's going on in the economic conditions. If the economy went down and things, maybe the price could go down, the proposal they would provide. I doubt that, but sometimes those things occur. We saw that with the 01 bond and bidding.
We're paying for it now, though.
Yep.
All right, any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to item A. Under other, request for closed session to discuss attorney-client privileged communication.
Mr. President, I recommend that the Board of Education approve going into closed session for the purpose of discussing an attorney-client privileged communication.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Martin, support by Mr. Bear for closed session. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Martin, yes. Mr. Bear?
Aye.
Mr. Miners?
Yes.
Mr. Asha?
Yes.
Mr. Miskelly?
Yes.
Mr. Dombrowski?
Aye.
Will there be any action at the end of the closed section?
I don't anticipate any action coming out of the closed session, no.
Okay.
All right, so we have approval to go into closed session. It's 8:11. We'll go into closed session, or we reconvene in closed session at 8:20. And for the record now, it's 8:11. We'll go into a brief recess.
Let's try 13.
8:12. And the
What period?
internet has to be shut down.
Yeah. Shut it down.
Who is? Oh, both ways, lose, huh?
Yeah.
So far. Hey.